First of all, Henry Crocombe, great to see you again and smiling. It must have been a difficult few months. Just tell us exactly what's been going on since you went away with the Lions in the winter.
So I've had a little shoulder niggle, sort of started through the pre-season friendlies. Really had a bit of pain, tried to play through it, and then we decided that it probably wasn't the best decision to keep playing, try and get it sorted. So yeah, that's what we did. We had a few different scans, and I actually ended up having a small surgery, and it took a little bit longer than we expected to sort of get a proper diagnosis, but we got there in the end, and so thankfully I'm back playing.
Yeah, and how much of a worry is that as a young fast bowler when you get a shoulder problem?
Well, I think I've always had my shoulder's always been a bit dodgy, so I've played through it, but I think you're always going to get problems as a fast bowler. There's always going to be things that you've got to play through. You're always going to have pain in some type of way. So I wasn't too worried. I think, just getting through it and getting back playing was the most important thing.
We'll talk about that in a moment's time. Just go back to last season. You finished off last season with a bang. You got all those wickets down at Gloucester when Sussex were promoted. And, maybe that performance got you on selected for the Lions as well. Just tell us a little bit about that.
The Lions tour was really good, yeah. I love going to Cape Town. It's a great place, and obviously a great group of lads and coaching staff. It was a good tour. It was very different to what we're used to. The setup with the ECB is a lot different, and it's quite exciting to be in and around sort of England squads, and so it was a really good month.
Who were you working with in particular out there?
We had Neil Colleen was the bowling coach, along with obviously had Fred, and then we had Dale Stain as well. We had people sort of come in and out a little bit, but there was a great group of coaches there. Yeah.
How eye-opening is that to be amongst those sort of legendary names? Let's be honest.
It was, yeah, and until Dale came in, and he was just like anyone else. Really, he spoke to us like he was a normal guy, which was quite surprising. Really, I spoke to him the first day he came, and it was just like he was a random bowling coach coming out of nowhere. Really.
How inspirational was it?
Very. He spoke a lot about the mental side of the game, and for me that was quite handy to see how he went about it, and it was really useful having him about.
And you have to work very hard at Sussex, I know that, but did it give you an idea of what's needed to go to the next level, Henry? Perhaps how hard you have to work, or what you have to do differently, maybe?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's a skill level difference between county cricket and international, but a lot of it I think is mental game, the mental side of the game, and I think I've learnt that more and more over the last few years. You have to back yourself, you have to be confident in yourself, otherwise you're not going to get there, and I've got a lot better, worked a lot on that side of my game over the last few years, which I think a lot of people don't really realise outside the game how important that is, and how much it can affect you.
You've been out for the first 6 games. How frustrating was that?
Very. I was really looking forward to this season, being in Div 1 my first time, and being so close to the season, and then this happening, it was quite annoying. If it was a few months earlier, now I would have been potentially playing, but I've got there in the end, so that's all I can.
Let's talk about today, because what a way to come back.
Yeah, I mean, it took a couple overs for me to get into rhythm, and but no, it was. I think in the end I just started running in. We had a big wicket sort of to take in Dawson there, and I think we just stuck to a good plan of bowling straight and trying to dry them up, and it worked. Yeah. How
much of it is bowling in rhythm? Kevin James, who commentates, he's a former player here for Hampshire, he was saying you looked in really good rhythm after lunch.
Yeah, I think for me personally, it's massive rhythm. I'm quite a big confidence bowler, and when I'm in rhythm, it really builds my confidence up, and you seem to gain that extra few mile an hour out of nowhere, and you're steaming in, and the ball starts moving a bit more, and all sorts. Yeah,
it looked like a pitch that favoured the team as well. What was the feeling about the pitch today?
I think pitch was a little bit slow, on the slower side, not too much carry, but it started to seem about after lunch, and there's a bit of variable bounce as well. A couple popped off a length, so yeah. decent.
And a strange game in many ways, because a couple of big partnerships, Ben Brown was in a 60 partnership, then James Coles and Tom Alsop as well. So it looks as if that there are runs to be made. Is it about application or quite what?
I think that you've got to work quite hard for your runs out there. It's not easy to score. So you can see how many wickets were taken today, and how hard that last sort of 20 overs looked today. You've got to really dig in and work hard for your runs.